Please like and subscribe. The clock strikes 6:12 hours on June 1st, 2025. 24 Ukrainian drones slice through the pale morning sky over Russia's Murmansk Oblast, skimming the frozen tundra at an altitude of just 300 feet. In minutes, they are poised to teach one of Russia's premier air defense systems a lesson in physics costing $500 million. As the swarm closes in on the base, it faces a multi-layered defensive shield designed to swat these machines like flies. But it is not going to be that easy. The first hurdle is the radar network. The Nebo M search radars standing guard are technically capable of detecting small targets, utilizing longer wavelengths that create resonance effects with drone-sized objects. However, the system suffers from a fatal flaw: the dirty secret of its very high frequency band, positional accuracy. At its current settings, the beam width is hundreds of meters wide. The operators might know something is out there, but targeting it with a missile is a game of chance. Consequently, the drones slip past the Nebo M as if it were not even there. The lead drones acquire their targets using simple optical sensors. They require no sophisticated artificial intelligence, relying instead on basic pattern matching to hunt for the distinctive octagonal array of the gravestone radar. The objective is clear: clear the path by blinding the enemy. The S-400 Triumph protecting Ballayia Air Base represents the apex of Russian engineering. Its 92 N6E gravestone radar can track 300 targets simultaneously, while the massive Big Bird acquisition radar scans out to 400 kilometers. The 48 N6E3 missiles sitting in vertical launchers are capable of striking targets 250 kilometers away and climbing to an altitude of 30 kilometers. On paper, the Ukrainian drones should already be burning wreckage. But physics has other plans. At an altitude of 300 feet, the radar horizon becomes Ukraine's greatest ally. For ground-based radars scanning for targets at an altitude of 100 meters, the detection range shrinks drastically to just 40 kilometers, merely 1/10 of the system's advertised reach. The drones are literally flying under the curvature of the Earth. The S-400 operators will not see them coming until the terminal seconds. The system's X-band engagement radar, operating between 8 and 12 gigahertz, excels at tracking high-altitude fighters, but falters against ground-hugging threats. While short wavelengths allow for precise tracking, they also mean ground clutter becomes overwhelming. Every rock, building, and tree reflects signals at these frequencies. Furthermore, even if detection were possible, the Ukrainians have positioned their launch trucks just 2 kilometers from the base perimeter, well inside the S-400's minimum engagement range. The missiles require at least 2 kilometers of flight just to arm their proximity fuses and achieve aerodynamic control. It is like trying to use a sniper rifle in a knife fight. Even the close-in protection of the Pantsir-S1 systems cannot save the S-400. The kill chain, from detection to engagement, takes a minimum of 5 to 6 seconds to cycle through radar acquisition, identification, friend or foe interrogation, turret slewing, and missile launch. Moving at 50 meters per second, the drones cover that 2-kilometer gap in just 40 seconds. By the time the Pantsir's search radar spots them at 4 kilometers, the operators have perhaps 2 seconds to react. It is simply too late. The first drones smash into the S-400 and its radar arrays. With the eyes of the base destroyed, the remaining drones swarm the parked bombers like a crowd descending on a buffet. In minutes, aircraft worth hundreds of millions of dollars are engulfed in flames. This is only the opening act. As smoke billows from Ballayia, a second wave of Ukrainian drones approaches Ballayia Air Base. They fly through Arctic air chilled to -12 degrees Celsius, turning breath into ice crystals. The defenders at Ballayia are ready. Pantsir-S1 systems are powered up, and operators are glued to their screens. Yet, they remain unaware that the Arctic environment itself is about to become Ukraine's most effective weapon. The first sign of trouble appears on the radar screens. Targets materialize at an altitude of 500 meters, then suddenly at ground level, then at 1,000 meters. Ghosts dancing on the display. It is the same drone, appearing everywhere at once. The Arctic temperature inversions create atmospheric ducting, where extreme temperature gradients bend radar waves like light passing through a prism. The cold surface air has a higher refractive index than the warmer air above, creating electromagnetic mirages that render accurate targeting impossible. The ancient P-18 spoon rest radar, a 1970s relic designed to spot massive B-52 bombers crossing the North Pole, is useless. Its vacuum tube amplifiers drift wildly in the cold. And against tiny drones in these conditions, it offers no defense. The situation worsens when the Pantsir systems attempt to engage. The hydraulic fluid has thickened to the consistency of molasses at minus 12 degrees Celsius. Turret traverse rates plummet from 60 degrees per second to under 20. The twin 30mm autocannons, designed to spit out 5,000 rounds per minute, manage barely 1,000 before the frozen lubricant causes them to jam completely. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian drones thrive in the cold. Their lithium iron phosphate batteries maintain full power despite the brutal temperatures. There are no hydraulics to freeze, no complex mechanisms to fail. Just simple, brushless motors that run more efficiently in the dense, cold air. Their thermal cameras see Ballayia lit up like a Christmas tree, with every heated building and warm engine glowing starkly against the frozen landscape. A Pantsir finally achieves a lock and fires. The 57EX missile streaks toward its target, its proximity fuse armed to detonate within 5 meters. But electronics behave strangely in extreme cold. Capacitors drift, oscillators shift frequency, and processing power lags. The missile passes right through the drone formation without detonating because the proximity fuses, calibrated at room temperature, fail to function at minus 12 degrees Celsius. The first drones impact the aviation fuel tanks. Here, physics delivers the final blow. When explosions generating 2,500 degrees Celsius meet steel cooled to minus 12 degrees Celsius, the metal becomes as brittle as glass. The tanks do not just explode, they shatter. Supersonic shrapnel flies in every direction, each fragment carrying thermal shock, creating a cascade of destruction. Frozen pipes crack, valves shatter, and the entire fuel system transforms into a massive fragmentation bomb. Ballayia becomes an inferno visible from space. The defenders have fired over 40 Pantsir missiles and thousands of rounds to hit exactly 3 drones. The other 21 find their marks. Sometimes the best weapon is simply understanding the environment. But the next target, Dyagilev Air Base, offers no such environmental advantage. It represents the gold standard of modern air defense. Multiple S-400 batteries providing overlapping coverage. Pantsir-S1 systems filling every gap. Krashuka 4 electronic warfare systems ready to jam everything from X-band to K-band. And even old-school ZSU guns loaded and ready. It is an integrated nightmare for any attacker. Then, 31 Ukrainian drones appear on the screens, and the mathematics of modern warfare begins to dismantle that integration from the inside out. The drones do not approach as a single group. That would be too simple. Instead, they split into 7 sub-swarms of 4 to 5 drones each, attacking from different vectors, altitudes, and speeds. This is calculated psychological warfare against the fire control computers. The problem is mathematical. Each Pantsir can handle 4 simultaneous targets, and the S-400 manages 12. 31 drones should be manageable. However, when 7 groups constantly merge and split, the targeting computers are forced to continuously recalculate intercept solutions. Every time 4 drones merge and split again, the engagement sequence must restart. Processing delays cascade through the network. In a desperate move, the Russians activate every electronic warfare system available. Multiple Krashuka 4 systems pump out massive jamming signals across every frequency band. Against standard military radios, this would be devastating. But these Ukrainian drones employ advanced frequency hopping technology, changing channels 1,000 times per second. By the time a jammer locks onto a frequency, the drone has already hopped 50 times. Even worse for the defenders, the drones use the jamming intensity as a navigation aid. The stronger the interference, the closer they know they are to the target. Russian doctrine fails them here. Their engagement cycle takes about 12 seconds from detection to launch. But with drones moving at 50 meters per second from multiple directions, they cover 600 meters during a single decision cycle. 7 groups ensure that something is always inside that loop, always closer than the last calculation predicted. This is where distributed systems reveal their terrifying power. Through mesh networking using microsecond burst transmissions, each drone knows the location of every other drone. There is no central controller, only simple rules. Avoid collision, maintain spacing, and converge. When gaps appear, drones adjust. When opportunities arise, they exploit them. It is not artificial intelligence. It is emergent behavior that is impossible to counter. The first wave demonstrates why engineers fear synchronized attacks. 17 drones impact within a 2-second window. They're shaped charges creating overlapping blast waves. These coordinated impacts create zones exceeding 50 pounds per square inch of pressure, enough to turn reinforced aircraft shelters into dust. Diaghilev is left in ruins. 8 drones were shot down out of 31, a 25% hit rate that would be impressive if the remaining 75% hadn't just deleted half the base. The best integrated air defense network in Russia just learned that when a $1,000 enemy communicates better than a $1 billion system, integration becomes vulnerability. The morning is not over. One target remains. Word has spread, and the defenders at Ivanovo Air Base are prepared for the worst. Ivanovo is at maximum readiness. R-330 Zyach. Zhetel jammers blanket the area with global positioning system denial, broadcasting false signals that would send normal satellite-guided weapons veering into the woods. Every frequency is jammed, every approach covered. If traditional air defense can stop a swarm, it will happen here. The incoming drones should be flying blind, their GPS receivers swamped and communications cut. Instead, they remain in perfect formation, navigating terrain with unnerving precision. The Russians are about to discover their enemy has evolved beyond the need for satellites. These are not remote-controlled toys. 18 months of machine learning have birthed neural networks that navigate by recognition, not coordinates. Ukrainian programmers fed the artificial intelligence thousands of satellite images of Ivanovo from every angle, season, and time of day. The drones carry simple processors running image recognition at 30 frames per second. They do not need GPS. They navigate the way a person navigates their hometown, by recognizing familiar landmarks. The base has scattered inflatable decoy aircraft everywhere, equipped with heat generators to fool infrared sensors. Against satellites, they are perfect. Against artificial intelligence trained on real aircraft, they stand no chance. The neural networks spot the discrepancies instantly. Wrong shadow angles, incorrect antenna placement, heat signatures that do not match real engine patterns. The million-dollar decoys are ignored as the drones head straight for the real metal. Then, a phenomenon occurs that terrifies every defender. The drones begin to coordinate without external control. Through mesh networking using burst transmissions too brief to jam, they share discoveries. When one drone identifies a priority target, every other drone is aware of it within milliseconds. They redistribute themselves based on attack angles, warhead types, and target vulnerability. No human operator is involved, just machines making tactical decisions. The precision of the final attack is surgical. Drones with penetrator warheads target the hardened shelters. Fragmentation charges pursue aircraft sitting in the open. Those assigned to the nuclear-capable Tu-95MS bombers aim for specific weak points, weapons bays to ensure maximum destruction, and wing routes for structural annihilation. It is destruction optimized for maximum damage. The underground fuel system is breached in 6 calculated locations. The interconnected pipes carry the explosions like a fuse network, igniting a base-wide inferno that will burn for weeks. 14 strategic bombers, worth $700 million, are reduced to twisted metal. The pride of Russia's nuclear deterrent has been destroyed by drones built with smartphone processors and hardware store components. Please like and subscribe.